Hi, this is Mr. Myers with some feedback for you on your revised Dare Machine Chain story. Please keep in mind any suggestions and feedback that I do give you on this assignment was with my full understanding again that this was a collaborative writing project, and that as an original writer, it can often be difficult to revise a collaborative writing project where so many different writers contributed to the original draft and then make that into a coherent narrative. So first of all, I thought you did a great job of doing so in this revised draft. And so again, any suggestions that I do give you is understanding that where your other fellow writers might have contributed ideas and sections that may not have fit with the original idea that you had when you wrote the first introduction to the story. First of all, I'd like to compliment you on the title of your story, The Death Note. Oftentimes, so many writers, even in the final draft of the story, will just give the title of the story the name of the assignment itself, such as Dare Machine Chain Story or Dare Machine Chain Story Revision. I was impressed that you actually not only had a good title, but that you used a font to match the tone of the words itself. The first part of your story also really grabbed the reader's attention. It was only the second week of school when I found the note. Without giving away too much of the story itself, it's intriguing and makes the reader want to know more about what exactly the note is. My only suggestion for this part is a mild one, in that you need to indent the first sentence of your story. I was curious about the second part of your story, where you talk about the actual the discovery of the note itself, particularly since you describe it as mysterious and you use the word parchment itself. I was wondering why the character, if it was so mysterious, would decide to read the letter later instead of right away. I don't know about you, but if I found a mysterious parchment in my locker or in my desk, I would be very much likely to want to read it right away. Was the character in a hurry? Would they be late for class if they paused to read the note? You might want to add some explanations as to what the character was thinking and feeling about why they decided to read this mysterious note later instead of right away. Particularly since right when they got home, they were eager to read the note and were in such a hurry that they flung their backpack on their bed. So again, you might want to clarify later why the character decided to read the note later instead of right away. I also like how you changed the font for the note, made it look more like an actual note that a person would receive. It really stands out and makes the story seem more realistic, especially with the use of slang and spelling that somebody who potentially would be deranged might actually use, such as funny and cuz. You also do a good job of revealing the internal monologue of the characters. Part of characterization, as we know, is revealing a character's thoughts and feelings. So describing that a wave of fear passed over you, or the narrator, and then going on to express how the character reassured him or herself, reveals a lot about how the character is someone who doesn't scare easier. Also, it demonstrates that you as the writer realize, again, that it's better to show a character than simply tell what a character is feeling. This spot would also be a good place, though, to add more of what your character was feeling or thinking. Was the character afraid to see this stranger completely covered in a hood? Were they curious, angry, annoyed? Again, this is information that the reader would most likely like to know. You effectively use dialogue here. Most writers, again, put all the dialogue in the paragraph, and resulting in what we call character clash. You did a good job of indenting each time a new speaker spoke. However, you will need to add some description of the setting here. It's really difficult for the reader to imagine where Oak Ridge Park is, or what exactly it looks like. Using concrete imagery to describe the setting, in this case of Oak Ridge Park, would really help ground the reader in your story. Also, going back to the beginning of your story, you might want to include some information about what exactly it is the character wants, setting up the conflict of the story. Is the character so bored with their life, or is their life again so uninteresting that a note from a stranger would cause them to go meet them in the middle of the night? Again, setting up what a character wants is important for establishing the conflict and what the character may have to overcome later in the story. I also realize this is a revised draft and not a final draft, and you'll probably have several more revision stages to go through before publishing, but you might want to look at some of the formatting of your essay too. First of all, you might want to make through that the entire spacing is double spaced. Again, this should be double spaced throughout the entire essay. Excuse me, I meant throughout your entire story. Except throughout the note itself, because the note's so interesting, you want it to stand out. It makes it, again, look more realistic. Also, you want to proofread for spelling and punctuation errors that spell check won't catch, such as off course instead of course. Also, you want to follow proper capitalization rules when writing dialogue. Overall, though, this is a great first draft of the story, or revised draft of the story, and I'm looking forward to see where you take it in further revisions.